How's it going, all you gene seed warriors that even the God Emperor of mankind himself wouldn't spit out? This is Connor, and before I start, I just want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and that over the holidays, you get to hear the screams and anguish of your enemies, which will hopefully be heretical in nature. But this video is once again going to be in regards to threat level, and just where you should roughly be, or just explaining some basic information about Darktide and its difficulty system before you head out this holiday period to slay the heretical Xenos and just traitor scum that is rampant in this unfinished broken game. Anyway, so the difficulty system in Darktide is called threat level. It's a very simple system. The higher you get, and up to damnation will be the max, the more difficult the game becomes. It works as such: the higher the threat level, the tougher enemies become, in that they are harder to kill and they deal more damage, but also there are more of them. So if you get to damnation, for example, you're going to see constant enemy spawns of hordes, elites, specialists, and more than just maybe one monstrosity a match. It's a very basic and simple system, but there are a lot of players who end up jumping into threat levels they aren't really prepared for, whether it's because they like and get off on that kind of mental and physical pain, or maybe just because they're dipping their toe in just to see what the experience is like overall. Now that I have adequately and in a very detailed manner explained how the threat system works, or threat levels, let's move on to the second most important thing that you will need to consider and understand before jumping into higher difficulties, and that is, of course, ratings. As you can see, I am currently on my Ogren. My Ogren has worse gear than my Veteran Sharpshooter, who is my main, but it will do, well enough just to give you a brief explanation of how it works. You will notice on my cleaver here that it has a number beside it, a very arbitrary number that isn't actually all that arbitrary, and that is its rating. While on your weapon, if you press V to inspect, you will see all the numbers and details for that weapon. Looking at all these numbers really does give me a headache and makes me regret failing math, but at the same time, the migraine that usually is induced by this screen allows me to RP and kind of feel what it might be like for a psyker to undergo the torture they certainly deserve. But you can see here, this number again, 458, which is the rating for this melee weapon, is basically broken down into a variety of stats. You have your perks, you have your blessings, and you have just the generic perks you'd expect to see on any sort of RPG. All of these numbers added up. Don't ask me to do it myself. I'm, like I said, failed math. But I'm assuming all of these numbers added up make your rating. The higher the rating overall, the better the weapon, and the more of a benefit it will be to both you and your team. There are people in the community who say that rating isn't all that important and that everything in this game comes down to skill. To those people, I will say that, well, no shit, but I would take a bigger sword with spikes over a club any day, plus the skill, because it would make taking out enemies a hell of a lot easier, and the more enemies I kill in the Emperor's name, the more of a chance there is that my senpai would notice me. So in short, rating does actually matter. The higher your rating, the better you're going to fare in matches, the more damage you're going to deal, and the more enemies you're going to be able to kill in the Emperor's name. The way you go about getting higher rating overall is by doing one of the following. You can level up, and while leveling up, go to the armory and unlock better stuff. Or once you hit level 11, which is trust level 11, you can head on over to old Codger Melk's Requisitorium, and he will sell you limited time acquisitions for this currency that I don't know the name of. I call them COG tokens because there's a little COG on them and I miss Gears of War. But hit limited time acquisitions, and he does sell some pretty decent stuff from time to time. They are pretty damn expensive, and in fact I'd say extortionate at times, but as you can see with this kickback, it does have decent stats overall, decent perks, decent blessings, and it does look like it would work well. The perks in combination with the blessings looks like a nice match, but like I said, they can be quite expensive, and what I have found that also works quite well is if I go to mystery acquisitions, you can purchase either a melee weapon, a ranged weapon, or a curio. All of them are mystery and unknowns, so basically this could be any quality. But the good thing about this, if I go and buy a ranged weapon, for example, it can drop in white quality. Now you may think, okay, that's pretty bad, but if I go on to my character here, you'll see that, okay, it actually isn't all that good. I was expecting this to be like over 400, maybe 420, like it has been in the past, but that's really unfortunate. Actually, I just wasted 200. Anyway, there are times where stuff he drops can be very, very high, even for like a profane or white quality piece of crap. The damage can also be quite high, and overall, once you've upgraded that weapon, it can turn into one of the best weapons you're ever likely to acquire in the game. As you just saw with me though, didn't work out, maybe in the future, but I'll be sticking to his, well, limited time acquisitions. The best way and the most efficient way, however, to increase your rating is to head on over to Mr. Stephen Hawking, go to the requisition weapons and curios, and just buy whatever is at the top of this list. Every time you're able to get something higher, continue to buy it, because overall, it will gradually start to increase the number. So it's pretty simple. If whatever is being sold is higher than what you're currently using, even if you don't like it, switch it out because it will be worth it in the long run. Like I said at the start, I hope you all have a great Christmas and whatever holidays you're currently celebrating. And overall, if you're playing Darktide, then continue to give the devs grief because they truly deserve it. Not all of them, but whoever decided to release the game this early, yeah, continue throwing harassment at them because honestly, they've made this a mistake 3 times now and they don't seem to be learning from it. But yep, thank you all very much for watching, and I, of course, like always, we'll see you next time. In fact, you know what? If I get 30 likes on this video, I will upload my next video, or an Ogren video, with an Ogren voice and everything. I guess you'll... oh, what the fuck's going on with his hand?